Call planning zoning, committee, into order. I'm gonna start with the prayer. If y'all all bow with me, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for this day. We thank you for Wilson County and what it means to all of us. We thank you for putting us in this position that we can hopefully help our fellow countyans and do what's right. Always help us do what's right. Take it to heaven and life, so in Christ's holy name. Amen. We have minutes.
Motion to approve. Second.
Got a motion and second. Does anybody want to discuss the minutes? Nobody wants to discuss the minutes. Anybody from the public want to make any comments on tonight's agenda? Hearing none.
I'll speak up. Yeah, I'll speak. I'm waiting for everybody else. Perry,
You close. You real close.
I was real close, but I was wanting to, and I'll make it very brief. As y'all are aware, I'm on the board of zoning appeals.
I'll say.
Speaking, and I'm not speaking here on behalf of the board of zoning appeals. I'm just one of their members. Y'all got something about amending the height change on accessory buildings. I just want to man up and say, we've had a lot of, and I'm sure Chris is going to cover this. We have a lot of those coming before us every month. 6 months ago, I think we denied 5 in a row. 2 to 3, 4 foot height variance. We denied them all. That didn't sit real good with me after I went home and thought about it. But anyway, so the next month, we allowed a few of them and the board split and whatever. So anyway, we have, maybe as a board, we've been somewhat inconsistent in the last 6 months. And I want to say a part of that is probably, I will take the blame for a part of that. But I felt bad about just denying everybody from having a 2 or 3 foot high. If they had 15 acres and they were way off the property line. So anyway, I just wanted to throw all that out there, and we will do whatever you guys decide to do going forward. As Christopher will probably say, there is a big need, or there seems to be a big need. People got big houses, they got big toys, they want big buildings to put their toys in, they want to build them wide, and they want a steep pitch roof, and they can't do that with 22 foot. So I don't have a dog in this fight as far as what you do, other than there's 3, 4, 5 every month coming before us wanting the variance on the height. Thank you. That's it. If you have any questions,
The chairman will make a short comment on your comment. The original height years ago, and I'm probably the oldest person in here, was because the Weymouth people couldn't get up that high. Now that they've got an aerial truck, they can get 110 feet in the air. So it's a different ballgame now than what it was some time back. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I brought a guest to speak on the ADU, but I think that his comments would be better reserved for when that discussion starts. So thank you with your permission.
Any objection from the committee?
No.
No objection. Let's move ahead. I think Christopher, it's you got the show here, sir.
The first amendment on the agenda was 3 amendments here. We'll note the 4th amendment will need to be deferred to the next planning and zoning committee. I did not have the brain power to write that one up. That was going to be from scratch.
The plants.
Yeah, for vesting properties for the county. I will put, that'll need to be deferred to the next agenda when we get there. But the first one is zoning ordinance amendment for the height requirement. Everything that is going to change on that is in red on the ordinance itself. And then anything that's going to be scratched out is marked through so you can get a feel for what exactly is there. The major changes is in section 1 with the definition of what qualifies as an ADU. Or not an ADU, sorry, height. And it's no principal structure shall exceed 3 stories or 35 feet in height. That is going to stay the same. And it says accessory structures which meet the minimum accessory setbacks shall not exceed 22 feet in height. And then it goes into what we omitted, which was if it matches the 2 roof pitches, it can be up to 30 feet in height. So all of that, some of it is added back in, but what is added back in is kind of what is tailored to it. It's accessory structures which meet the minimum principal setbacks shall not exceed 30 feet in height. So that's stating that if you're going to propose an accessory building or a garage or anything like that, and you're going to meet the accessory structure setbacks that we allow in the county, which is 10 feet off the property line, you are going to be required to be 22 feet in height. You cannot exceed 22 feet in height. But if you want to meet the primary structure setbacks on the property, which is the setbacks for the residential structure on that property, you can now go up to 30 feet is what this is going to allow, as opposed to capping it at 20 feet. So if you're willing to pull it back an extra 5 or 10 feet if you're in an A1 district, that would allow you to go up to 30 feet with an accessory structure. And most of these requests happen on larger acreage tracts, so there shouldn't, in theory, be an issue with pulling it back additional footage if you want that additional height requirement. I didn't bump it all the way up to 35 feet because I don't necessarily think you need a garage that's taller than your house. And then I felt like allowing it on 30 feet at 10 foot off a property line is getting overwhelming in some neighborhoods that may be tighter. But that's where it is. It bumps it up to 30 feet in every district as long as they can meet the principal structure setback. The only one that's unique is our R2 district, and that's because the primary structure setback in that district is also 10 feet. At that point, those lots are already so close together and everybody's used to seeing that height that at that point in those districts, you can have a 30-foot structure 10 feet off the property
You're
line.
pretty much matching the house without,
At that, in the R2 district, yes, sir.
okay, how did you land on 30?
That was just a number that I pulled out. I mean, there was a lot of suggestions. I also ran this through Boza because they were having some inconsistencies on the way that they were treating them with board zoning appeals. There was talks about going higher based off if you go an additional 10 feet off from the accessory structure setback, you can increase your height by 2 feet. So for every 10 feet, you can go an additional 2 feet. I felt like in talking with the building inspector and zoning, that gets really hard to enforce. Like if somebody proposes a structure and they're 39 feet, are we not gonna give them the benefit of the doubt because they're 39 and not 40?
Not if you read a tape measure.
Well, yeah, but who's reading the tape measure and where is it being measured
Well,
from
I
on
mean-
site? And then, so that's why I just made it a blanket if you can meet the primary structure setbacks, was all of those primary structure setbacks in most cases on lots that are under 5 acres, those are on a physical plat. Anybody can call a surveyor out and get them to mark pins of their corners and their minimum setback buildings for their residential structure, and that would be a very visible, accurate reading on the ground that any applicant can see if it got to that. So that's why I just went with the principal structure setback for increased height. 30 feet, that number has no meaning to me. If you think that's too tall, we can change it. I don't necessarily want to go all the way.
No,
to
I just asked
35.
where it came from. Comment from the building inspector?
It can be difficult to do, like you're saying, but I don't have, kind of like he said, I don't have a dog in the fight.
That would be a no comment
Yeah,
comment.
there you go.
Up for discussion.
Well, it is amending the height setbacks in the R1, R2, A1, and A2 zone districts.
Is there a motion?
Say that again, Commissioner. You mean,
It's amending minimum height or maximum height requirements for accessory structures in the R1, R2, A1, and A2 zone districts. You want me to go through each one and tell you what the setbacks are for these districts? Does that help?
Thank you, detail. Thank you. That question coming up in your mind.
No, that's fine. So for R1, existing accessory structure setbacks are 10 feet. Primary structure setbacks in the R1 would be 15 feet. In the R2 is not on here because it doesn't have any. In the A1, accessory structure setbacks are 10 feet. Primary structure setbacks in our agricultural district are 20 feet. So if you want to exceed 22 feet, you will have to be 20 feet off the property line as opposed to 15 feet, is similar in our R1 residential district. And that's just setbacks in those different districts. In A2, it's the same as the A1. It is amending the accessory structure setback from 10 feet to, if you want to go above the 22 feet, you have to be 20 feet off the property line, which that's the primary structure setback in our A2 district, and that's our agricultural preservation district. We don't currently have any A2 in the county, but this covers it all in case of vegetation.
but an A1 lot that's 10 acres is still saying that the maximum height for the primary structure was 35
Have
feet.
to call back and end the meeting.
Yes, sir.
Have to call back.
And the accessory, the most you could get would be 30 feet.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Comment?
I see his reasoning on it, because he doesn't want the secondary taller than the primary.
I see that, but you know, if you're on a large enough piece of property, so you're on a 20-acre tract.
And the building's 300 feet from the house.
Yeah.
Which
Which I know agriculture barns are exempt from this. I understand that.
yeah. I mean, once you get to a certain height, like the way we treat primary structures, like if you wanted to go over 35 feet, you can go to the Board of Zoning Appeals and request variances. They have granted those variances in situations, but on residential structures that are taller than that, they put a requirement that they'll allow a variance of, let's say, 3 feet to up to 38 feet, but you're gonna be required to sprinkler the home. I mean, they could get a variance above 30 feet on an accessory structure under this ordinance if they wanted to come in, and they could put the same stipulation on it. Now, I'm sure there'd probably be a lot more pushback on sprinkling an accessory structure. 'Cause I don't know why somebody would want to run through that jump through those hoops for a garage per se. I don't know in a situation where you would get a garage that's, I mean, I'm sure there's the situation where you can find them taller than 30 feet. And most structures in the agriculture districts that are above 30 feet are gonna be hay barns or
Well, I can
silos
see
or
where
something
the
of
man
that
in the
nature.
agriculture field wanting to build a shop building, per se, wanting to use a lift inside of it for heavy farm machinery,
Yeah,
he might need to exceed that.
Get a variance. You get a
how,
variance.
I don't know how big, like, I know a standard lift for like a car,
Well, I'm not
it'll
talking
go
about
like
a
8
car.
feet and the car's 6 feet. I mean, you're at 14 with a roof pitch, you're gonna get to 26.
So, I mean, say I
I
wanna
mean,
pick a
it's,
bed, a dump bed off of a grain truck and I've got a lull. And it reaches 45 feet. I mean,
You
I
know
can
what,
argue,
we have
I
to have
can
an
argue
hour.
scenarios with you all day. I'm just
We're
trying
going
to.
deep in the
consider-
woods on this one.
No, we ain't going all that deep.
I
Jerry.
mean,
You know, on a large lot.
does anybody do that indoors?
Well, yes, sir.
Okay.
It'd be rare though when it
I
time.
mean, I think that would
Not
be.
in today's world, Jeremy. Excuse Jerry.
That's Jeremy over
I
there.
know. Not in today's world now. Matter of fact, I know several people that have buildings that they do things of that nature in. I hate to just cause a hardship.
But they've already got it.
Huh.
Here? They've already got that here. So they had to go get a variance.
No, they've had it for years. They done.
Oh,
what they
so
wanted
it's
to. They didn't
grandfathered
have to
in.
come and
Okay.
scan.
That's what I just told you, never
Yeah.
got a building permit in the first place.
Exactly. That's why I was
Well,
kind of
that's
leaning
a
towards.
possibility.
Yeah.
Hey, Tommy, they can still go before the board though.
Well,
I mean, they still have a right to go before the board of zoning appeals if it's gonna be over the 30 feet.
I mean, I'd say if a person owns a larger tract of ground and is back off of the setback lines fair enough that he's not being a problem to his neighbors, I mean, I understand there needs to be a maximum for safety reasons. Some the fire marshal can tell us that, but you just said we can go 100 and something feet as far as fire now.
Yeah.
I don't-
So
Why,
that's,
why can't we tag on these things, variances, can be allowed by BOZA or can be something by BOZA?
Everything.
That's anything in the zoning.
Well, I know it is, but I think that, who's Tommy at?
Oh, no.
That would be very redundant. I feel like, I mean, you're gonna put at the end of this, the variances can be requested towards the BZA. I mean, that's,
Well, I
there's a
get
blanket
that.
statement in the zoning ordinance that says that about anything in there.
Speaking of lift, I used to stack hay 6 high. And I think I went like 30 feet with it. I'll tell you how to do it later. You have a comment, sir, before we,
I would, if it would be okay, in regards to what Tommy's saying, on the larger lots, I would think or hope, maybe Tommy, that they would be agricultural use and be exempt.
I would think so.
And then coming from a few years of experience on Boza, if they're not agricultural use, do you want them working on everybody's dump truck in the whole neighborhood? Cause then it's a commercial deal and it's not your own personal.
No, I get that.
So I'm not trying to speak out of turn by any means, but I do think that your concern maybe that most of those maybe would be agriculture exempt, would be a barn. And we always need help on that definition as well, Boza. What is a barn and what is not a barn? That's a whole nother can of worms that we can't get into right here, but, I would have a question for Chris, or maybe I wasn't real clear. On R1, how far would you have to be off the neighbor's property line to be 30 foot tall?
15 foot.
Is that okay?
The house can be 35 feet, 15 feet off.
Okay, all right, I was just asking, I just wanted clarity, you know.
I mean, I had to pick, I mean, I couldn't make.
Understand, guys, we're at 22 foot right now.
Yep.
I mean, you know, 20, I mean, you know.
Any further discussion amongst the committee?
I have a question about R1. What if you're sitting on 150 acres in R1?
It's the same standard.
But that you still have to be so far off, but I could only go 22 foot.
At present, you could only go 22 foot with an
But I
accessory.
could still go 30 if I'm in R1.
If this gets approved, yes.
And if it's agricultural use, it doesn't matter anyway, right? Okay.
If you're about 150 acres, y'all have cows, be agriculture.
What you what?
Y'all have cows, be agriculture.
But it doesn't have to have cows to be agricultural.
Welcome to my world.
You can have crops of hay on it. I mean, it could have soybeans.
Okay.
All right.
I make a motion, we go with this as is.
We have a motion to approve this. We have a second. Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? No further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next subject.
Alright, the next subject is contractor storage yard, and this is amending it in district C2 general commercial, C3 highway commercial, and I1 light industrial. This is mostly just cleaning up some of the definitions of some of this. And to answer your next question, a contractor storage yard as interpreted by staff would be anything that has to do with what is affiliated with the trades or heavy machinery. So it'd be the storage of HVAC equipment, plumbing equipment on site, would be dump trucks. If somebody wanted to park tractor trailers on site, that would also classify as a contractor storage yard. It's typically sites that some of them will have a small office. The majority of people that request contractors yards just use them as a blanket site for parking and heavy machinery. Section 1, Article 5 zoning districts, general commercial C2 subsection. This is a use permissible on appeal. It's remove the following language from section E, and that's contractor's yard. And that's just taking it out of a less intense commercial district. And that's the only district that it's being taken out of. The next section is under the C3 highway commercials, which contractor storage yards are yet allowed as a use permissible on appeal. We're gonna leave that in there. We're just removing the language from section F that is before that, and it's the words office and or. So it says contractor's office and or storage yard. It's just gonna say contractor's storage yard now. And the reason being, there's no differentiation between a contractor's office and an office in these districts. It's just cleaning it up because there was some confusion there. We allow office in all of our commercial districts, and that's not gonna change because we take this out. If somebody wants to put a contractor's office on a C2 or C3 or even a C1 district, we're gonna allow them to do that. That doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna be parking heavy machinery. You have a contractor's office that just does your day-to-day. So it's not taking the storage yard or anything out of the C3 district, it's just cleaning up that definition so there's no confusion that a contractor's office is different from a real estate office or a dentist office. They're all gonna be allowed in the C3 district. And the same thing under the I1 light industrial, these are uses allowed. It's just taking the words out office and or, and that's just to clean it up that all office uses are allowed in our light industrial districts. It has no differentiation between a contractor's office and a real estate office that might wanna go there. Those are the only 3 sections that I mean, I know that's a shorter amendment. Just cleaning up those definitions. And I know, Commissioner Evans was originally the one that brought down some of this. We've had a lot of conversation with it. I don't know if this one still meets the intent. I've had to change it from the last time. I don't know if you're okay with everything that's been presented on
Sounded
that.
all right. Originally, Christopher had stated contractor's office and or equipment storage instead of actually saying storage yard.
Yeah, it's
So that
just,
was where the definition of a dump truck came in. as
yeah,
far
it's
as
just,
what
it's just
is-
gonna be contract.
What is a dump truck? Is that, contractor's equipment or what is it?
Are you happy with this?
Suits me.
Any discussion? No discussion, chair, entertain motion?
Motion to approve.
Got a motion to approve? Second. Got a second? Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next item, ADU size amendment, Haskell, you want your guest to start first on that?
If you'd like to, Mr. Chairman.
That'd be
That'd be
fine.
fine.
Hey, my name's Sean, and I come into a situation where my mother-in-law,
Shaw, what's your last name?
Sean Smith,
Right.
and I have a piece of property over here. It's about 5.5 acres. We live in a 2,000 square foot house, and there's really no way to attach a line to it. And right now, my mother-in-law's living with us because my father-in-law passed away a couple years ago, and she lived down in Holmwall, Tennessee. And one of the problems I'm seeing with the older people, the more I check into this, is they just don't have the finances to move to a town like this area and spend the kind of money it takes. I mean, we looked into apartments, they're $1,800 for 800 square feet. You know, I mean, she blinked through her money in 2 years. So we had the ability to build it. My concern is like, I see how fast she's gone downhill in the last 2 years, and everybody I'm talking to says you just can't build an ADA, you just can't, American Disability Act, and there's no way to do it without it just being like one room and then a bathroom. And they say the problem is in the bathroom. So if you can't build it big enough to have a bathroom, that someday, I mean, my wife wants to take care of her on our property, but right now, to be honest with you, if anybody's had parents move in with you, it's difficult. I don't want to live with my kids, I can tell you that. No matter what, I don't want to do it, to be honest with you. But I do think Tennessee's a family state. It always has been, and the chance for elderly people to live with where my wife can take care of her, I think it would be. And I don't want a bunch. I mean, you can do it at $850. I mean, or 1,000, easy. You can do 2 people at 1,000. I just have one. But I would really request. I'd love it if we could just, like, I could just build, something for her to be. I mean, quality of life, just to be quite frank. That's all I got.
Mr. Chairman, if I could add to that.
Please.
I've heard from other constituents and residents and, other county commissioners as well, that they're running into similar situations. That the 600 square feet, if you've got somebody that is in a wheelchair or is potentially gonna be in a wheelchair. Or if you have a very large father-in-law, then, 600 square feet is like putting a Doberman in a dollhouse. I mean, it's pretty tight. So that's the reason for my request. The reason for 1,000 is just the horse trader in me. I'm not married to 1,000 square feet, but I can always come down where I can't go up.
We, just for the committee, we started this thing several years ago at 900 feet, and got amended down to 600 feet. So that said,
We were already there.
I'm sorry?
We were already there.
Yeah, discussion amongst the committee.
Mr. Chairman, can I speak to Fred briefly again? I know I'm wearing myself out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
six
you
seconds.
are.
And, control, obviously, both, we get requests for variances on these things, and we generally do not grant a variance on them unless there's a ADA or medical type deal. I see and I'm not pro or con, I guess, I don't know. I see a need, I think everybody sees a need for affordable housing in this county. Everybody talks about the young kids go off to school or whatever and come back and get married. How do they live? And so I'm going to present a scenario the opposite that this gentleman did. You got a young couple that's 24 years old, and they want to build a house in mom and dad's, an accessory dwelling unit in mom and dad's backyard. Maybe they got a baby on the way. Can they do that in 600 square feet? Probably not. At 1,000 square foot, they can do it. They may not like it. I grew up with a family of 6 and 1,000 square foot. That was a different world and a different time. But I was born and raised with 6 people, and we lived in about 1,100 square feet. Or I didn't measure. But I mean, we we lived on top of one another. So I'm just saying, there's another side to this where beside the elderly, it may be a place that would help young people. I know you got to deal with about the sewer aspect of it. I don't know if you're on a step system. I don't know how all that plays into all that. That's up to you guys to figure how that all works out. Thank you.
It's actually something I'm considering doing at my residence now for my kid when they get out of college, to have a place that they can come back to in Wilson County, because they can't afford it once they get out of college. And then on down the road, possibly the possibility of
Put
my parents
Kenny
living there.
You're,
You know, so it could be a dual purpose. So I mean,
what
this
you
is
just
something,
say?
Put
Put
Kenny-
Kenny there?
put my parents in there, yeah. So
Hmm.
it's something that hits close to home to me as well.
There's,
Other discussion?
I did clean up the definition on this a little bit, cause we've been having issues with people coming in and doing accessory dwelling units and putting, I mean, their intent was for, you know, somebody coming back from college or a mother-in-law suite. We didn't have clear language on there. We originally had bedroom or sleeping, like these structures are to be described as a bedroom, a sleeping quarters area, accessory kitchen area, accessory bathroom area, and any accessory dining area. We've had people come in and saying, well, it doesn't say you just have to have one of those. So the definition that's being cleaned up is on page 1, section 1. It crosses all that out, and it clearly states that the structures are being amended from 600 to 1,000 square feet in total dedicated space, and are to consist of one bedroom or sleeping quarters area, one full bathroom, and one accessory kitchen, and one living/dining area. Because we've had people come in and they're trying to meet that intent, but then they're putting a half bath and an office in these, and that was not the intent of these accessory dwelling units.
Do you get a plan or a diagram of
We
what you
get
put in?
we get a plot plan because they have a full building permit for these.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I was on zoning appeals, we had people building pool houses
Absolutely.
and they put a second floor in. And I mean, it's been 12 years ago, I guess it was. Before you know it, kids come home from college and that's where they live. And then they go and move, and then mama goes out there and live. And that was in subdivisions. So I don't, what y'all did to fix that since then, or is it
Well,
still
because
going
we got
on?
AD, it's legal now. They do it
Yeah.
legally. It just got to be under 600 square feet. I don't know if you need to. I'll just throw this. I don't know if you need to have a minimum lot size. I mean, do you need 1,000 ADU on a half-acre lot?
Right,
I don't. That's something
do
you
that
got
your
to figure that out.
you know? What are you gonna do when they don't need it anymore? Rent it out? Can you do that legally?
Yeah, you'd have to.
Airbnb.
You can either rent it full time.
Good golly.
You can either rent it full time with no restrictions.
Yeah, that is
You
true.
can do Airbnbs with a use variance, but then Airbnbs have to be on a 2-acre tract.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a catch.
Yeah.
Like they don't do that.
Here's what your recommendations, committee.
Well, I mean, I was proposed 1,000. I mean, the original proposal back in 2018 was for 900. It got amended down to 6. I mean, I'm not married to anything on the square footage side except for more of the clarification on the definition, so these don't get out of hand and become
Pop up.
2 bedrooms or separate offices, because they're all for like the young couple or the elderly to as an in-law suite. They're never intended to become a second home on a tract that was never permitted for
That's
that,
right.
where you get multiple bedrooms and an expanding family in there. Yes, I guess you could always
That's what you
have an expanded family in there, it's just not gonna be comfortable in one bedroom.
Any further discussion, folks, committee?
Motion
Have
to
a question.
approve.
We have a motion to approve, we have a second. We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir, you can ask.
Would it matter if it was on like 600, if it was on so big of lot size, and or up to 1,000 if it's on a bigger?
Your setbacks will take care of it when it creeps.
Setbacks take care of what, how?
How big it is.
What would make the difference between a dwelling for a mother-in-law or whatever than a garage?
The setbacks are
It's
different.
different.
The setbacks.
The setbacks are different for an accessory dwelling unit.
Oh, they are.
They're the same as an accessory. So the accessory dwelling units do not have to meet the setbacks for a principal structure.
Now, it doesn't specify garage. So what if a garage was part of it? What if you had a single car garage as part of it?
Well, I mean, the
Is that
one.
part of the 1,000 square feet?
No, sir. The reason that 600 was landed on, to the best of my knowledge back in the day, is 600 is a 20 by 30. Because the question came up, it's like, hey, can we use these for more than just a dwelling unit if we're gonna spend this kind of money and create it? Sure. So 600 square feet is a comfortable 2-car garage with a living apartment up above it.
A 600 this room you're sitting in.
So the garage is not part, you can have 2-car garage with that living 20 by 30 off of the door or above,
Yeah, it could be off to the, we prefer it above because off to the side, I don't know what's gonna
go
keep
to
you
the
from.
rear, whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you do it to the rear, I feel like they're
But you
more.
can't stipulate whether they go up or out.
Correct,
Okay.
yes. Not presently, and I don't have any like to do that, but I mean, the ones that are all one floor, those typically, those garage doors get taken off and walled in, and now we've got a 1,200 square feet unit.
Yeah.
That happens pretty quickly after the.
We got a motion and second on the floor.
No question, Mr. Chairman.
Got one more question.
Just for Christopher. Is there AFT charged on?
There is not.
Ooh.
There needs to be,
I'll say, should there be?
absolutely.
That would be a question for maybe Mike a little bit, because we'd have to change our private act language to include them. Because we don't.
Ain't going there.
In the way,
Advocate for it, I'm just asking.
the way that it's listed is they're called accessory dwelling units. And the reason the term accessory dwelling unit is thrown in there is because it's considered an accessory structure, which we do not charge an AFT for. And that's why they're just not called in-laws apartments, because then there's no way to tie it to an accessory dwelling unit. Because we also have in the county an internal accessory dwelling unit, which
Which I didn't even know existed.
right,
until we talked
which I've got different issues with, but we won't bring those up. But like, we don't charge an AFT if somebody's. We don't charge an AFT for an internal accessory dwelling unit if somebody's modifying a space to be able to have a full kitchen, bathroom, and in-laws quarters within their residence, which would be similar, like if you come and apply for a duplex in the county, which is very similar to what the internal is, you get charged double AFT because you have 2 residential units. So there's a pass both ways for the internal one and the accessory one. We're not currently charging AFT for this. And that's the reason the wording is that it's an accessory dwelling unit, because it falls under the accessory structures, which we've historically never charged an AFT for.
whether it's being charged bill permit regardless anyway.
Yes, sir. Building permit, yes. AFT, no. There would have to be some classification on, I don't know if you do size, you'd have to call it out in the private act of some sort that a secondary or accessory residential structure on a tract is gonna get charged. I don't know if you give them an abbreviated fee or the $5,000, but to answer the question, no, they're not being charged.
Chris, look into what would fit among my private act as far as the AFT, then we'll address that later time.
What would fit it?
You think on that?
Oh, okay.
You and Mike kind of grind your heads out on this one.
Well,
motions?
we don't wanna go back and try to change that.
No,
That-
absolutely
We
not.
just have to see if we can wordsmith
if
the
this-
language to make.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, words with the language that stays within the private act. Got a motion second,
Would withstand.
all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? No opposed, okay. Next item, sir.
Well, the last thing I had on there was, the zoning ordinance amendment. There should be a new section. It's just due processes for submittal of plats and site plans regarding investing. Not had the brain power to complete that one yet, so, I need you all to defer that and forward to the next planning and zoning committee meeting, and I will
Mr.
present
Bird,
that to you.
You withdrew it, so let's talk about the Corps of Engineers.
I was hoping to have an update for you on the cost analysis based off the meeting that we had with them. They have not gotten me back on that. They told me 2 weeks. It's been 3, which, I mean, with the shutdown, they're greatly affected there. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not, but I don't have an update. I was hoping to be able to share a new cost analysis for the Spring Creek
Let me share,
watershed.
let me share with committee, Chris and I've talked a couple of times. It appears to be, little if any, I won't use the word no, but little if any flooding problem above Young Road.
That it, yes,
Up
Young Road.
toward
Yes.
the head of the creek. there appears to be flooding when you get down the Bluebird Road and other areas on that, and a couple of the tributaries, closer to the, river down there. So, we took off everything up the headwaters up there, which is what, 3 or 4 miles, I guess, of creek. I don't know exactly.
I think it's
Not-
3 1/4.
Yeah, and not to study that, but to add in a couple of tributaries. And he's proposed to the Corps as to the cost of studying that. So that's kind of where we are as far as I know. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, sir. And I was looking for an updated for the breakdown of getting rid of that 3.5 miles and adding those tributaries in. The original study of the mainstream of the watershed of the Springfield watershed was 224,000. That was with no tributaries. So we cut off 3.5 miles and added some tributaries in. It is not apples to apples on nautical miles. If you cut off 3.5 miles and add tributaries in, it's not like those dollars just transfer over, you get 3.5 miles. The way they do their studies with the severity and the size of the watershed that serves those tributaries is different than the main watershed, so the cost it's not equal.
Doesn't equate.
It doesn't equate. So I was hoping to have a new cost benefit for that with those 3 tributaries that we had in. And I have them giving me a breakdown of the cost of each tributary. That way, if we're not wanting to do all 3 based on the cost, it would be easy to just cut one and say, we want to do it with just these 2 or just 1 maybe. However we see it going forward.
Do we have a meeting coming up with them? No?
Not before the holidays.
Okay.
I'm aware of.
Okay. Any further, business come forward the committee?
We just asked a question on these 3 that y'all approved tonight. It'll be December.
They will all go to, December's planning commission. Yes, December's planning commission.
Okay.
Go to us
Not
till
county
January.
commission.
Till January.
County commission, they have to be forwarded from the planning commission.
Right, so we won't get to December, mid-January county
Right.
commission.
Yes.
Assuming they're forwarded.
Yes. And then if any suggestions are made to any of these by the planning commission, those will be publicly notified and also open to public comment at the county commission. Any suggestions?
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
That's fine, sir. Any other, business come forth the meeting?
I have one question for Christopher and I guess Mike.
Okay.
Detail the process for us on Monday night of how to consider the suggestions from the planning commission.
The suggestions from the planning commission, they've been publicly advertised in the paper. If anybody, which nobody has except for Mr. Perry Neal came today, he requested to know what we would give any applicant that wanted to see what was going before county.
What it's in the paper, if you wanted more information, go by the office and ask for it, so I did.
So I gave him a copy of the resolution that was presented to planning commission, which is also going to be the exact same one that's presented to county commission, and a copy of the draft minutes from planning commission that outline the suggestion. Then when it gets to county commission, we'll close for public hearing. I'll read the public hearing and it outlines the ordinance as it was presented. And I'll outline the suggestion that was forwarded. So both of them will be open to the public. The public will have the option to talk on the ordinance as it sits standardly and the suggestion amendment that was forwarded. Once we close public comment, we go back into session. The first operation would be, I guess the committee has 3 outcomes. You can either approve the resolution as it was presented to you, you can deny the resolution flat out, or you can approve the resolution with the suggestions from the planning commission.
Amend.
Amend,
Well, I don't-
you would amend it or not?
Well, you would have to have
Yeah,
a
it
vote
would-
to accept that.
Yeah, you need to accept, that part I don't know how.
That's what he
Yeah,
said.
yeah.
Well, I was gonna talk to him Monday, get our heads together on this. I'm with him until that last part, and it's just because we hadn't talked about it. I'm shooting from the hip here. Is that you would need to put the original resolution on the floor,
Yes.
get a second, and then somebody move to amend to change it to include the suggestion. Nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah.
The suggestion. And if that gets accepted or approved as if, then that would be what we vote on. You okay with that?
Yeah, that makes
Well,
sense.
think about that, cause I won't,
Would you,
Yeah.
I got a call on it this morning and I thought, I gotta go back and look at this.
He called you too?
No, Barry didn't call me, somebody else.
you move to accept it or move to
Move to approve it. the two,
The suggestion.
80,000. Move to approve the original resolution, otherwise you don't have anything on the floor.
Yeah.
Correct.
And then you get a second. And then if somebody wants to amend to change it to the suggestion, you get a second. And then you will vote on that amendment first.
Correct.
The only
If
thing,
it passes, then the original resolution becomes 60,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
the only thing that I think would be different, I think the first motion could be a recommendation to approve the amendment with the suggestion from the planning commission.
No, cause they're two different things. One's two, one's an acre and a half.
Mhm.
But you're approving it with the suggestion.
The
so
suggestion
it
is
would
an
auto-
acre and a half.
Right, it would,
But
I
when
mean,
you
you're-
vote on it, which one is it?
Yeah, there you go.
you're
I think
approving
you
it
have to
with
separate.
the suggestion.
Separate.
I would do that, Mike.
I
gotta
think you
separate.
gotta separate. We'll talk some more.
Yeah.
I'm not following you, maybe when you explain it.
I don't know if I'll do any better.
I don't know, I'll thank you better when you tell me something.
I feel like.
I have a question for you, Mike. I've sat and read TCA there 100 times. At that point, if we chose to accept the suggestions, do we need to open back up and have another time for public comment right then?
It wouldn't hurt anything, but Christopher has tried to cover that by saying the public hearing that he's called for would
Yeah,
be the 80,000, but include the suggestion.
But
But if you wanted to do that, I certainly wouldn't object.
we need to act so appropriately in this matter. We
Maybe
need to come out of there with an outcome.
Well, I agree.
That's all my concern is when I ask.
I'm
this
just, now I'm thinking practically, you got a motion and a second on there to amend it to 60,000. We don't usually, or do we go to a public hearing? At that, we always have our public hearings before we consider something.
Yeah.
Budget, planning,
But you
Correct.
can't consider it until you've voted on accepting it.
well, I think if you know you're gonna be for the 60,000 or against it, you can talk about it during the original public hearing.
Yeah.
But if you wanna have another one,
I wish
don't.
you, I wish.
I
we
don't see the
I
problem.
don't wanna open any door for any
That's the problem.
change.
Last
I
time,
got
once it was amended, there was no conversation.
And that was like the big strictly.
Yeah,
So-
I got vision of what
so
that's-
why-
I don't think it would hurt anything.
Why not cover all our bases? Whatever,
We
whatever
think
how
we
it
do.
shakes out, whatever we.
You're saying the
think be standard.
Second public hearing on 60,000 only.
If we get, if the vote goes that way to accept 60,000, if it doesn't, then you wouldn't have to open.
That's right.
It adds another hour to the night, but you
No,
know,
I
it
don't
probably
think
keeps
it
us
would.
back from coming back here and dealing with
Yes.
it again.
It's a lot easier for that than me having to spend about 8
Exactly.
hours in a lawsuit.
So
So
it's worth the extra time, I
Well, the
think.
difference is this time they've both been publicly noticed, correct?
Yes, they've been in.
They will be, yes, they have been,
They have been.
they have been.
In
That-
the paper.
I mean, I had a copy, I had two copies, I don't know where the second one went, Perry's got my main one.
Yeah, I've got all this here. And the reason I asked
Very
this
exciting.
specifically is because I was there the day the judge made the road from the bench. The judge made comment about there's public notice in the paper, but then the paper says if you want the details, you go to the planning office and ask for them. So that's what I
That's
did
what you
today.
did.
I wanted the details, you know, and so this is what I've got here. I don't, and I guess it would appear to me, I have a resolution that says nothing about 60,000. It's the 80,000
That's
resolution.
not how it was written, it was written as the 80, the suggestions are in the minutes.
Right, and then I've got the minutes from the planning commission.
Which say?
So does that cover all that, I guess? But do y'all want to say that, or Chris, you
Well,
want?
I mean, I,
Something else, Mike, I
That's
wish you
your
would
copy.
consider maybe saying before we start is to make sure it doesn't happen. The only amending that can be done,
I said that a while ago.
I
Nothing
mean,
more
but
than
I want you to say that.
I would.
I hate to put you on the spot.
No, I don't mind being put, you know, you've got two choices tonight,
That's it.
80,000 or take the suggestion of 60, not 65,000.
That's what I'm saying.
We'll leave it the
That's-
same.
You need to lay the ground rules on the front end.
Well, I'll let him do it in this public hearing, and I'll be back up.
When it gets time to vote, that's when you say your spot.
Yeah.
Does 60,000 have to be in the resolution? Cause I've got a resolution that says 80,000.
Cause you're amending.
No.
So are you not opening the door where you're gonna substitute a resolution at 60,000, just like you did
No.
2.5 years
I
ago?
can't put 60,000 in the resolution because that's not the resolution that was presented to planning
First time.
commission.
That's
what
right.
came
I have to present the
So
exact.
you're
same
saying they can legally not take, they can substitute that resolution with a definition of 60,000?
We gonna
If they have
suggest,
to accept the suggestion of the planning commission to amend it, yeah. I have to present the exact same, that's where we got in trouble, cause the resolution that was originally presented to planning commission back in 2022, how long that was, 2022?
uh-huh,
The one that it ultimately got approved was not the one that was presented to planning commission.
Yes, it was. Planning commission amended it, changed it to a different one. The one that came out of here and went to planning commission got approved.
That's where we got in trouble, cause the one that was presented to county commission was not the same one that was
Went
presented
to
to
planning.
planning commission.
it's true.
We allowed planning commission to amend it, which.
Right.
There should have been checks and balances in that, and that's a lot on my department. which
One
is
had a
fine.
number on it,
But
one
the,
did not.
the resolution that went
Isn't that right?
before the planning commission was the same one that went before the county commission. The one that came out of planning
Shame
commission
on you,
was
Dan.
different.
Was
But let me
Is that
counter
not
what you're
correct?
saying there. We brought a separate resolution that said 60,000 and substituted it. Somebody would raise the issue that resolution was never presented to the planning commission.
Yeah.
And they would be right. Because what the law says is you can consider the resolution up or down and a suggestion. It doesn't say a new resolution.
That's right.
So I think that's the way we gotta go.
Okay.
Now,
Amen.
can I tell you that we'll not get sued on it? I wish I could. but
One lawyer just left.
It's a wonderful world. Y'all heard me say this. Only in America can you sue anybody for anything you want to.
I wanted to say any further discussion, but I think it's already been done, so any new business, we've already covered the old business. No new business, I entertain one more vote.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you very much, have a good day.